Let's dive right into this explainer because we are looking at a truly gripping story today. It's about an AI insider who uncovered a secretive, behind-the-scenes race that could quite literally alter the course of human history. We're talking about Daniel Kokotajlo. He's a former forecaster at OpenAI. Yeah, the exact same company behind ChatGPT. His literal day job was to map out the future of artificial intelligence. But what he actually saw happening behind closed doors? Well, it terrified him so much that he felt he had absolutely no choice but to blow the whistle.
To really wrap our heads around the gravity of this situation, we have to start with a staggering number: $2 million. That is the amount of equity Daniel was willing to completely sacrifice just to sound the alarm. When he made the choice to resign, he was walking away from an absolute fortune. We're talking about roughly 80% of his net worth at the time, just gone.
The immense personal stake behind that choice really tells you something. Daniel flat out refused to sign a non-disparagement clause. He pointed out the bitter irony of a so-called nonprofit demanding he essentially take a vow of silence and never criticize them again. So he walked away from all that money to keep his voice. The future he was forecasting was so incredibly heavy and uncertain that he and his wife actually reconsidered having more children. I mean, that is the level of intense concern we are dealing with here.
And that brings us to the terrifying reality he uncovered. The most powerful tech companies in the world are no longer prioritizing societal good. Actually, scratch that. They are locked in a high-stakes, highly secretive race for global dominance. The original mission of these organizations might have been to safely guide AI for the benefit of humanity, but Daniel realized the true driving force inside the industry has morphed into a pursuit of raw, unadulterated power.
So what are they actually building? We need to be clear, we're moving way beyond language models drafting your emails or writing little snippets of code. We are talking about engineering artificial superintelligence. These are entities vastly better than the best humans at absolutely everything. This tier of intelligence is faster, it's cheaper, and crucially, it's capable of seamlessly operating physical robots out in the real world to execute any task we can do, only magnitudes better.
There is a massive, massive contrast to play right now. Think about the PR messaging we hear every single day. The public narrative is all about building AI safely and responsibly for the benefit of all of us. But internally, the reality is much darker. The leaders of these companies are racing to build armies of superintelligent AIs, and a huge part of that is driven by sheer paranoia. They're terrified that a competing CEO might get there first and essentially become a global dictator.
And underneath the hood, the technology itself is wild. These companies are scaling massive artificial brains. We're talking about systems with up to 10 trillion parameters functioning like a giant tangled web of neurons. And because these systems learn through a blind process of pruning and strengthening these complex neural pathways, they become unpredictable black boxes. It is literally impossible for the engineers who built them to look inside and guarantee exactly why the AI makes a specific decision.
To actually win this race, these companies are executing a dangerously specific strategy. First, automate human coding. Basically, teach the AI to write its own software. Second, automate the entire AI research process itself, effectively replacing their own human workforce. And third, trigger recursive self-improvement. Once an AI can do research completely autonomously, it builds a smarter AI, which then builds an even smarter AI, triggering a sudden, uncontrollable intelligence explosion.
Daniel realized this hyper-aggressive strategy has put humanity on a terrifyingly fast trajectory. He refers to it as the Plan D default path. And look, this isn't some far-off science fiction. This closely aligns with the stated internal goals of the top players in the industry right now. They aren't trying to slowly, carefully release helpful robots into the economy. No, they are trying to automate themselves first to achieve maximum power as fast as humanly possible.
Just look at how fast Daniel's internal forecasting says this escalates. By 2025, we see the arrival of autonomous AI employees, digital agents that can execute complex, multi-step tasks all on their own. By 2026, companies begin completely replacing entire corporate departments with AI agent subscriptions. And then comes the critical year, 2027. AI fully automates AI research itself, triggering that runaway intelligence explosion we just talked about. We go from helpful digital assistants to autonomous superintelligence in the blink of an eye.
Because these systems are unpredictable black boxes, and because we are scaling them up in this totally reckless race, Daniel estimates a chilling 70% probability that this default path goes horribly wrong for humanity. Think about it. When you build a new, highly superior artificial species that you don't fully understand, and you potentially put it in charge of military strategy, the economy, and coding its own upgrades, well, the chances of us maintaining control are terrifyingly slim.
But let's say we beat the odds. Even if we somehow avoid a catastrophic loss of control, and the AI does exactly what the tech giants want it to do, the immediate side effect of a superintelligent machine is the permanent end of human labor as we know it. Let that sink in. Life after human labor is actually the best-case scenario on our current default path.
And losing our jobs isn't just about losing a paycheck. It translates to a total loss of human economic leverage. If everyday people aren't generating tax revenue or labor value, we lose our political power. That leads straight to an extreme concentration of political power among a tiny group of tech oligarchs who own all the data centers. That leaves the rest of humanity incredibly vulnerable to AI-powered political manipulation.
But Daniel didn't just blow the whistle to spread doom and gloom and leave us hanging. He actually used his expertise to propose a brilliant, detailed alternative for humanity's survival. He and his team mapped out a comprehensive, actionable recommendation that they call AI 2040 Plan A.
This alternate timeline is all about international cooperation and hitting the brakes before it's too late. The idea is by 2029, global leaders implement a strict regulatory pause on frontier AI training. By 2030, we mandate fully transparent, scientifically audited data centers so the global scientific community can actually look under the hood. Progress still continues, but it happens safely and slowly. AI reaches human top expert level by 2035. And finally, we carefully achieve safe superintelligence by 2040. It essentially buys humanity the breathing room we desperately need to ensure alignment and safety.
The core philosophy here is simple, and Daniel put it perfectly. It is actively good for there to be multiple AI companies across multiple countries. By broadly diffusing AI into society through transparent, open science, rather than building a single, highly secretive mega project, we completely avoid an extreme concentration of power. We prevent a single, paranoid CEO from capturing all the global leverage and acting as a digital dictator.
Now, even on this much safer timeline, massive job loss is pretty much inevitable. To solve this, Plan A implements a citizen's dividend. This is an economic model starting at $25,000 a year for every person, which would eventually scale into the millions as the automated economy just explodes in value. This whole system would be funded by directly taxing the automated robot economy, ensuring that the incredible wealth generated by superintelligence actually sustains widespread human prosperity rather than just being hoarded at the very top.
So, here is the ultimate question for us right now. Will global leaders wake up and implement Plan A? Will we mandate audits for these black boxes, distribute the power, and secure our future? Or will we just blindly allow tech giants to race down that default path, building an artificial brain they don't even fully understand and just hoping for the best? The timeline is ticking, the stakes absolutely could not be higher, and the choice is ultimately ours. Thank you so much for joining this explainer. I'll leave you with this. Which path do you think we're actually on?